Big day locally. Some good news. We talked about Oregon State a couple days ago. I brought some things up for Oregon yesterday, but you weren't on the program. Dan Lanning got some great, welcoming news. They welcome in a portal transfer at running back, Mekhi Hughes from Tulane.
Yeah.
Absolute stud.
Yeah, numbers have been great for him the last 2 years, and we also have another brother story. He is the older brother of the guy that they flipped from Ohio State, Naeem Offord, the corner, who said Phil Knight's going to make me a shoe.
Oh.
This is his older brother. So we now get we're going to get this one on College Game Day for the next 2 years. Not adopted, actual brother.
I was going to ask, adopted?
I don't know what's the deal with the last name.
Okay.
I haven't dug that deep into it, but it's just they are brothers, and that much I know.
Yeah, my little brother's my little brother, but we have,
different last names, yeah.
Different last names.
Something very similar. Could be one
Right.
different parent or whatever, but they are brothers, and so that's kind of a cool story.
He is absolutely, if you've seen the tape, a dude that you see and you can already envision 80-yard run at Autzen Stadium. Can see that right now in my mind.
It's a big need that they had. I mean, Jordan James is one of the guys that you were on NFL Watch for of what's his decision going to be, and he was a tremendous back. One of the first recruits for Lanning, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Brought him with him from Georgia. He was committed to Georgia, and Lanning took the job, and he followed him to Eugene. But a ton of fun to watch. Devastating to see how his season ended and not being able to finish the Rose Bowl. Doesn't make a difference in the outcome of the game, but just would have been nice to see him out there and healthy. And so I think they were looking for... Who's your number one back going to be, man? Noah Whittington is still not quite to where he was prior to the injury a year ago. Tremendous player, a good depth piece. And then you have a lot of young guys who are unproven that I'm excited about, but they just have never shown that they can be that guy. And so with the second Jordan James left, this was one that they've been kind of murmured to get this guy.
Yeah.
James announces he's going to the NFL, and you're like, all right, wait, there it is. He's going to Oregon.
You think Lamar can challenge him, or is this going to be a split back thing? Is this going to be one of these guys takes more carries the other way James did?
Well, first off, I'm assuming Noah Whittington's back, but he can technically go to the NFL as well. I don't know why he would do that. Maybe it's just because the injury stuff doesn't get hurt again. So they're still awaiting, I guess, technically that decision. But no, I think this is going to be, they're going to split it and balance the guys the way that they've done, but he will be the number one back. He will get the predominance of the carries similar to the way Jordan James did.
And two good additions that are going to return. This came out yesterday from both. Evan Stewart is not going to go to the NFL. He's coming back to Eugene.
Yeah.
And Bryce Betcher is going to forego going to play pro baseball. He's got more eligibility. He was an absolute beast this year. And so he's going to return. The Eugene, the native Eugene son is going to come and continue to play linebacker for the Ducks. So he is going to be back defensively, Evan Stewart back offensively.
Another guy who was it was devastating to see him not be able to go in the Rose Bowl, and that was one of the bigger head scratchers at the start of the game. Everybody's texting me, where the hell's Evan Stewart?
I'd argue devastating to not have any idea that wasn't
just out of nowhere,
happen.
wait a minute. It took me 2 drives to even figure it out. Why is Evan Stewart not on the what's happening here? And because they didn't release any of that in the injury report, which tells you why you should never really believe college injury reports, because they don't report any of the stuff that they need to. I have no clue how eligibility works. None of it makes any sense to me. I think they're still waiting more decisions. The Betcher one, I guess, was because he had been an athlete for 4 years, but he hadn't played 4 years of football. So he had another year of football eligibility. Huh. I don't know. I think he's also contemplating what his future is going to be with the year he had this year of, does he want to go try his hand in the NFL draft? Does he want to stick with baseball? I think he's still contemplating. I don't know what that means for his baseball eligibility this summer. Or, this spring. Can he still play baseball?
I think, don't teams in these situations just say, hey, yeah, go ahead, and then we'll just keep waiting?
I guess so. So I don't know. I'm sure people have...
Was he a 5th-round pick? The Astros, what round was he picked in?
Let me look that up. Astros.
13th round.
13th round. There's 85 rounds,
There's a crap ton of rounds in the MLB
Well,
draft.
they've tightened it up.
Have
I think
they tightened it up?
They tightened it up to 30 or 40.
Oh, okay.
But I just look, if you're looking at these newses of the guys coming back, that's a good word to use, and very important positions where they needed this. Linebacker, they're losing some key guys, and they're going to be incredibly young there. To my knowledge, they've not brought in a portal linebacker yet. I think they really like their young guys, but again, they're unproven, and they got to go show it this spring and see what kind of roles that they could have. Betcher coming back and being a leader of that defense will be massive for them. And then on the other side, you're losing Trayshawn Holden, you're losing Tez Johnson, you're losing Terrence Ferguson. You're using a lot of key weapons from your passing attack. And so to have a guy that you can plug in on day one and say that's a number one wide receiver who I think his numbers will jump through the roof next season, being the main target for Dante Moore throwing the ball downfield, that was big news, especially considering the positions that they play.
Here's their linebacker room next year. Betcher, Devin Jackson, Jerry Mixon, Braden Platt, Kamar,
Matudi,
Dylan Williams, Gavin Nix. Receiver room is now Evan Stewart, Malik Benson, Gary Bryant Jr., Justice Lowe, who came on kind of throughout the year, Casper, Dickey, who we still haven't seen him do
anything from him, no.
and so I don't know where Duck fans would be on that. Jeremiah McClellan, and then Dylan Gresham.
Yeah, and don't forget Decorian Moore, who's the
Decorian
number
Moore,
one wide receiver in the
incoming,
country.
yes,
I think they have thoughts that he could be a number one guy right away, similar to what we saw from Ryan Williams at Alabama and Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. That guy he's an unbelievable athlete, one of the best that maybe has ever committed to Oregon, and so there's high hopes for him. A lot of those linebackers, unknowns, right? I mean, the only two guys that played were Jackson and Betcher, and so this is why that news was big. I think the only guy that we're still technically waiting on is Josh Connerly. I think everybody else is kind of either announced,
assume he's
coming
gone,
or going.
But the paydays in college now change how all of this goes.
It's also a first-round left tackle, so I there's a lot of money there. I don't know what his goals and aspirations are, but I think that's really the only guy that's still kind of an. And then there was a few guys that had the JUCO thing: Kobe Savage, Jamari Caldwell.
Yeah, we mentioned
so
them.
that kind of thing
Still,
looming. Do they decide maybe to come back for another year? But the biggest one will be Connerly. They've already added 2 tackles in the portal, and we'll see if they bring Connerly back. But I would be surprised if that happens.
Just trying to see on NFL mock drafts where Connerly ranks, because we know Banks is going to be the number 1 left tackle prospect.
Yes.
So after him, I'm just looking at ESPN's just to use as a site reference.
Yeah, player rankings.
Campbell at LSU.
Okay, yeah, he's a stud.
And Simmons at Ohio State. There's a couple guys. Connerly, he's at 18 on this mock going to Seattle. Yeah. So he's maybe the 3rd. And he's got potential and workouts and whatnot to maybe change even that for himself. So
and the kid from Ohio State, don't forget, is coming off a season-ending injury that he suffered in the Oregon game.